All set? Okay, thank you, Chris. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the July 5th, 2023 meeting of the Orange Town Plan and Zoning Commission. I am Commissioner Ozzie Parenti. We have with us this evening,
Paul Kaplan.
Kevin Gornell.
Judy Smith.
Jack Demerjen, zoning administrator.
and I think Tom Tarenti will be joining us shortly, but we'll see. Yeah, yeah, definitely. We don't have, we don't have a huge agenda this evening, so. All right, let's start with the minutes from last meeting. I just had a couple of comments, Jack.
Yeah,
You're
I'll
paying
make sure I
attention
got
to
it.
this?
Yep.
Okay. Under, on page 1, under new business, there was no new business at this time. Mr. Demerjen mentioned that there are some vacancies on the Boston Post Road, so this commission may be called upon in the future. I hope so.
Right.
But it was a little vague, I thought.
Maybe we could just strike
I think what you were saying was that, you know, you had a lot of conversations with people,
Right,
and
we
you
had a couple
expected.
big, larger locations open up, so I was
Yeah.
saying, I'm sure in the future we'll get some potential.
But as written, that didn't tell me much.
Yeah, I think we could just strike that.
The only other comment I had was on page 3, third full paragraph, the second line, sentence begins, "The property is a 2.06 acre," I think you want to add the word acre there, "wooded lot."
Makes sense to me.
And that is all I had on it. I don't know about
All right, I'll
Kevin,
be sure
Julie.
I'll let Deb know, she'll
All right.
we'll make the changes.
Then I will make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June 20th, 2023 meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Takes care of that. Next item, old business, review of drafted language for outdoor storage and display. So anyway, I know Jack consulted with Vinnie on this. And Vinnie drafted up some revised language, but essentially what he drafted up was what I had proposed. And I thought, if I remember correctly, we were going in a slightly different direction on when we last talked about this. I had said that, you know, or we had said that we would, you know, make outdoor storage available to anyone who's got a building 40, or a space, 40,000 square feet or more. And
Right.
then we would tie, we would just put a max on outdoor sidewalk storage or display space, and then also some space in the parking lots.
Right, that's kind of where we left it. Section B, that is what we recently amended. That is what Ocean State Job Lot brought in, and we approved that language last month.
So really A is.
So A is the only thing that really is new here, but Vinnie didn't have this updated language in his draft, so I wrote this up to include, obviously, what we just did. So really A is the only thing we're going over, but
But A and B don't track
No,
together.
that's
mathematically.
exactly, that's
Yeah.
why.
40 to 75,
Mhm.
that's 185.
No, I think you have to go back to what we talked about.
I'm not sure I'm making this better yet.
Yeah, you know, again, I think what we said was if you had a space greater than 40,000 square feet, you were eligible to have outdoor display and storage.
Right.
And I had suggested that we, you know, we tie the size of the outdoor display and storage to the size of the space, the indoor space.
The building, right.
Yeah. But I thought we had said that we didn't want to do it that way. And what we wanted to just impose was a particular
Right, a max.
With that number 200?
Yes, I think it was.
10 by 20 effect.
Yeah.
But like Kevin mentioned, it doesn't really track with B.
No.
So,
So it looks to me like we still don't have exactly what we want to send to a public hearing.
right.
But we can reaffirm that, you know, do we want to just impose that max for any size, applicable to any size
Well,
space?
We're set with B, right? 'Cause B we already
Be
approved.
adopted.
B is adopted. Doesn't mean we can't, you know, make adjustments here and there, but that is adopted language, yes.
What do you mean?
B was what we approved through Ocean State.
That was the
Yeah,
text
but-
amendment we did for that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but we're not bound by that, of course.
No, we could still change it.
I mean, that's the regulation on the record.
Do you have this, do you have this?
Hand of God.
Yeah.
Is that? Oh, that's the draft that Vinnie sent.
Right. And I think this is correct. This is what we want to do, except that we don't want to say that the display area will not exceed 1.5 of 1% of the total square footage that is occupied. We don't want it, we just want to impose a max there.
Right. Through our discussions, that was my takeaway, was we would just put a maximum number on anyone eligible for
So
storage.
we're
and display.
deleting subsection A. And we need to decide now whether we're going to go with the language that Vinnie drafted,
Right,
which is the
you're-
language that I originally suggested.
Right, you're looking at what Vinnie drafted. I took Vinnie's draft and I changed it around based on what we had discussed, which was just that 40,000 square foot threshold, and you have 200
What you were
maximum.
entitled to.
Right, so
The
Yeah,
minimum
yeah.
square footage to be able to have the outdoor space.
is
And
40,000.
the
yeah.
maximum
How
outdoor
does that
storage.
square with B?
It doesn't.
Okay. So for tenants of such clauses occupying 40 to 75, an additional, sorry.
Yep, no problem. He was just waiting and laying in wait. For tenants of clauses 40 to 75,000, an additional 185 on the sidewalk is permitted for display and storage. A 185 is additional to what? This 26 square feet on the sidewalks and 50 square feet in the parking lot of the preceding sentence?
I mean, we might just wanna
Listen,
strike B.
Listen, I think you gotta go, does everybody have what Vinnie?
Is Vinnie in A?
No, only you had what Vinnie has because he sent it to you and I, but he did not reflect on the changes we had already made. So I took what we had discussed, and that's what I made A.
All right. I think what we need to do is go back to what I originally did, which is what
What
Vinnie
Vinnie- okay.
mirrored. And I think we need to work off of that to solve this little problem.
Okay.
So if you want to pass this
Yeah, we
around,
Sure,
you
yeah.
should
should all
show
get
what
a
I
Well,
got.
Yeah.
well, hang on a
If you
second.
want, I
So
could also
A
run
and
and make
B
them real
seem
quick.
to be differentiating themselves between an outdoor storage area and a seasonal display area,
A and B,
A and B,
A and B don't make sense
together.
together, and that's
Right.
what prompted the whole discussion.
No, I understand, but
So
A and B are actually talking about different things.
Right. The starting point should be to get rid of A
Okay,
and make subsection B the new A. All right? And then I think all we need to do is we need to cover two things. One, you're not eligible for outdoor storage or display unless you have a space of over 40,000 square feet.
So you're,
Incorporating storage and display in the same paragraph.
Yeah.
okay.
And then, again, what I had done and what Vinnie suggested was that we say that the outdoor display and storage area would be a percentage of the interior space occupied.
but at 40, you become
And then cap it.
So that's what.
And then cap it, because 40 becomes 600 square feet, if I did my math right.
All right, so that's why we scrapped that the last time we
Right.
talked about this, and we imposed a cap of 200.
Okay, so
All right.
we
We
still
max.
maintain that language, but we put a cap on it?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right? So I think that solves the problem.
and we make that into just one, not A
And-
and B, that's just A.
Right.
Okay.
And then you re-letter the rest of
Yeah.
it. Is that what everybody recalls from the last meeting?
I actually have no independent recollection, Senator. I know that you had proposed stuff, but if we're locked into B as in boy, then my question is severalfold. But first is, what happens to anything over 75,000? Is there another provision of this regulation that takes care of that?
No.
They're maxed.
Again, you could have 100,000 square foot space.
Okay.
You still, but and that makes you eligible for outdoor
Storage slash,
display.
an unallocated display slash storage.
But there's a max. You can't have any more than, what did we say, 200 square feet.
And what do we do with Home Depot? Is that are they not subject to this, or?
Yeah, no, anyone
They were
that is already
subject-
approved, like Ocean State that we just did last month, if we were to vote and change this right now, their approval is still good at
Okay.
the language that
Okay.
was enacted at the time.
Right.
So basically what we're doing here is the entirety of B is basically gonna go, because we're gonna hold anyone over 40,000 square feet to the same standard, regardless if you're at 41,000 or you're at 150,000 square feet.
Subsection A is gonna be deleted. And B,
Right.
and what's
But B
now,
is gonna be majorly, basically everything that Ocean State Job Lot came in with is
yeah,
gonna
there's
go
gonna
out
be
the
no
window
reference
too.
to 75,000 square
Okay.
feet.
40 or more, max 200.
40 or more, max
Yeah,
200, and
that's
then
it.
that percentage of,
Well, I don't even know if we need the percentage.
No.
No,
We don't need the percentage, and we're not doing it that way.
so then it would be
Anything-
just A.
Oh, no, it's 40,000 or more, you get up to 200 square feet of unallocated.
Right, which is,
storage or
what is,
outdoor
what's A here?
What we're talking about?
right.
When you say
But
here,
the
are you
200 is
the-
aggregate for the center, not just the tenant, right? So in a multi-tenanted
This is
space,
the only thing we're gonna be.
say you had two 4,000 footers, you still have a max, right?
Of if it's one building?
Let's say
Yeah,
it's got two anchors.
It should say storage slash
Yeah.
display, but yes.
And so together collectively, a total of 200.
Is it at the aggregate of the individual tenants is the question? Is there a max for, or is it per tenant over
It's gotta be per
40,000?
tenant, right?
per
Because-
tenant. If you have over 40,000 square feet, you're eligible for outdoor display and storage. Up to 200 feet.
Well, then, do we need
There
to
you go.
add that per tenant?
Well,
We have it as
no,
building.
no, see, no, I think that's why you need to work off of B. You and I can do this.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
yeah.
I know where we're
Ready.
headed.
But let's just make
Yeah.
sure we understand the
Yeah.
concept here because we've talked about this a few times already. Again, you have to have 40,000 square feet. A tenant or an owner of a building or a tenant in some space in a building has to have more than 40,000 square feet. If he does, then he can have outdoor display or storage. And
Up
that out-
to.
Up to
Up
200
to
square
200
feet.
square
Yep.
feet. That's where it's maxed at.
Right.
That's the concept,
Okay.
all right?
Right,
And
and we
I think that's
wanna-
what we agreed on the last time.
I think so too, but we wanna keep it to 1 or 200 square feet per property,
Tenant.
or per tenant.
Yeah, but
Because let's say you have two tenants on one property, both exceed 40,000, they
It-
can have
Right.
200 each? Okay,
it says that.
Yep, okay.
All right, we'll work on that
sounds good.
and leave that as is for now.
Yeah, right.
So for the, we'll get that straightened out. But again, let's just make sure we're on the same page, so that we're not haggling over it again next time.
Gotcha.
All right,
Well, you just,
What you just said made it a lot more straightforward than what we're looking at here.
I don't know what, yeah.
A and B, trying to
No,
spread them.
I don't think that works.
Yeah,
It doesn't
okay,
work. You know, what Vinnie had drafted was essentially what I had drafted.
Okay.
And I think we were all in agreement with that concept up to the fact that, you know, we wanted a max.
Yep.
And that was, you know, I think the way I had written it, you could have a percentage of that space in the building in, you know, without limit. You know, so.
But we want a limit.
We gotta get rid of the percentage,
All
right?
right, so that's fine. We understand what we're doing on that.
Okay.
All right, next item, new business. St. Barbara Greek Orthodox Church requests to hold its annual Odyssey Festival
I vote yes.
from
Oh, sorry.
September 1 to 4.
It's my favorite town event.
Mr.
I
Reroll is
can't
here
be
too.
objective.
Okay,
Okay, good evening,
No props?
commissioners, and what's that? No props tonight. I'm here on behalf of St. Barbara's
Listen to you?
Greek Orthodox Church tonight, not Codispodium Associates, but, yeah, we're basically here to request permission to conduct the Odyssey Festival again this year, from September 1st, which is a Friday, through Monday, Labor Day, which is September 4th, I believe. We're anticipating everything's gonna run pretty similar to what we've had last year. in-
Yep, they do that.
Yeah, we've got, we'll be taking care of all that. We have filed the permit with the building department. I've been in contact with the police department, so we've got police protection all lined up. I've been in contact with the fire marshal. So everything is already kind of put in motion with it, so we're not anticipating any issues. Overflow parking will be using Holy Infant Church as well as Good Shepherd Church up the road, which will have shuttle bus service back and forth between the church and the campus grounds. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Status quo from last year.
Right, and years
pretty
before that.
familiar with the
Yeah,
event.
years.
All right,
It's okay if we make motions or no?
yeah, I suppose we need a
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
We do.
But we might as well, just to be
All right,
safe.
so I'll move that we approve the St. Barbara Greek Orthodox Church annual Odyssey Festival to be held on September 1st, 2023 through September 4th, 2023, subject to the police approval, the fire marshal approval, and the insurance being posted.
town sanitarian.
Town
Town
sanitarian.
sanitarian. Town
Yeah,
sanitarian.
we've
They have
been,
to
I
park.
filed the permit with Brian also, so that's in the works still.
Yep.
All right, we have a motion to approve it.
I'll second the motion.
It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, very good.
All right, thank you very much. We'll see you Labor Day weekend.
Yep,
Yes, you will, every
definitely.
day.
All right. Now, the next item on our agenda, it's under new business, is a review of a potential use in the C2 zone for a, quote, dry ice cleaning service, unquote. Is there, you know, this is a contemplated use in the C2 zone. And,
It is presently not one of the listed ones, which by definition
well,
means it's
that's,
not there.
that's the discussion
That's kind of what
tonight.
we're here to discuss.
You know, the potential applicant, he's not really an applicant at this point, he hasn't filed the potential applicant is going to speak to his business, and we're gonna try to figure out whether it's a permitted use, permitted by special exception, or prohibited, just to give, you know, Jack some indication. Now, if it's, I looked at the regulations and it's, the one thing I can say is it's clearly not a special use. So I suppose, you know, the advice we give tonight, it's either, we're either gonna say it's a permitted use and you don't need to come before the commission essentially, other than for site plan approval, or it's prohibited.
Right,
But it's
I've
not
highlighted-
gonna, it's not gonna involve a special permit unless
Right.
the regulations change.
Exactly. And I've highlighted a couple sections of the C2 zone that this use might fall under. I think once we get a better
Yep.
idea of what the business is, we'll know.
So,
But I have some potential language that might be the closest to what we have, so.
All right, so
Yep,
this, I assume, is the potential applicant.
the dry ice man.
Good evening, Commission. My name is Mike Landino. I'm the owner of DIM 109 LLC. It's a dry ice cleaning business. And to also let you know, I'm a former resident of Orange for 20 years. So it's a new business startup. I'm looking at a specific property at 367 Boston Post Road.
Can you, Mike, can you just tell us what, for me anyhow, what dry ice cleaning is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No
dry
idea.
ice cleaning takes solid form of CO2, dry ice, and we introduce it into an airstream and propel it against a dirty surface, and it cleans the surface without damaging it, without leaving any scratches. So unlike sandblasting, you have a second grit media, and it's gonna scratch the surface. This doesn't scratch paint or metals
Nothing to do with
or
clothes.
fabric.
Right, that's where I was going.
But you, no, it'll clean fabric. It cleans like just about everything. It's fantastic. It's kind of science at its best. So the great thing about it is the solid form, the dry ice hits the surface, cleans the surface, then turns back to the gas form of CO2. Now, we're not producing CO2. We use reclaimed CO2 to do the process. So the application's pretty broad, from cleaning, say, a gas grill, so a lot of consumer items. Automotive there's engines, there's a ton of different things that can be cleaned, like a mountain bike, dirty mountain bike. You have a $10,000 mountain bike, and some people do. They don't want to wash it. They want to clean it without any chemicals or water. So we're not putting any waters or chemicals into the environment, and we're not abrading the surface at all.
So you make your own dry ice?
No, it's purchased from
Okay.
like a company, Dry Ice Corp. in Branford, that, for instance, I'd be buying the dry ice for them, or All Gas up in Hartford area. Can I hand you guys out? This is kind of a six-pager about the property I'm looking at and the description of the business, the equipment.
Thank you very much.
Is there a facility in existence anywhere that does this currently?
There are. I actually belong to a group that gets together every Monday night to talk about their new businesses. Some are up and functioning.
I'll keep one for the record, actually.
Yep.
Thank you.
And we're talking about different applications. So for years, this has been used in the industrial space, but now since the machines are more refined, we can control the PSI, the CFM, the particle size. So the dry ice comes in a 3 mm pellet. It's kind of like a rabbit dropping. It's really small, grain of rice. So the machine can shave that down to about a 0.03 millimeter of a pellet, or it's almost like a grain of salt, propel it and clean very gentle things like Alcantara steering wheels. You can remove the, say, just for an example, from a business card, lithography. It can be used to like remove printing on a business card, but can also be very aggressive to remove barnacles from the underside of a boat. So it's got a wide range of applications, and
And post cleaning, post applying, it dissolves into the atmosphere?
the dirt falls to the ground. There are some particulate that does go into the air, but most of it can be swept up. Depending on what that material is, has to be disposed of properly.
What kind of environmental concerns are we looking at?
I'm in contact with someone at the DEP, Ross Burnell. I've got email chain here that I can give you a copy of. He suggested, we both corresponded about, I don't know, it's probably about 6 months ago, that we gather up about a pound of this material. The questionable, I mean, I could be cleaning a lawnmower deck, and most of that material is going to be organic, and that's simply thrown away. But anything in question should be gathered up, a pound of it, sent off to a testing facility that's DEP approved. We'll get it tested and see how it needs to be disposed of appropriately. It's a startup business. I have not done this process yet, but I'm going to be going down to Florida for training.
So that the stuff being removed, we have to figure out where that's gonna go, or how to dispose of it.
Right, and that's why I need to figure that out
Right.
with
But
testing and the
The
DEP.
material that you're putting on, the
The dry
dry
ice
ice,
sublimates.
what, give me a different word that I understand.
It goes from a solid directly to a gas.
That's what I'm asking.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And DEP would have no problem with that because it's returning the CO2 to its natural form or to a different form.
Right, and this is FDA approved, you know, USDA approved. It's pretty it's environmentally friendly. I mean, it's not kind of, it is.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing you're left with is just the dirt you're taking off, or grime.
So the CO2 is a net zero because where they're manufacturing the dry ice, they're pulling it out of the air.
That's correct.
Okay, so the fact that it's coming from Brantford and being dumped in Orange isn't like we're despoiling the environment.
Just,
For the record, that was a little joke in there, the pulling it out of the air thing, but I let it go.
So effectively, it's like a bad Agatha Christie book where they like shoot somebody with the bullet that's made out of ice and it melts inside them and they can't figure out how to do it. Yeah, all right. So basically, it's using dry ice as the aggregate in a sandblasting machine.
so, Jack,
Similar to that, yes.
Jack, what were the, in 49, and 383, 49, I assume, or something
Sure,
like
yeah, so I had two, neither of them fit very well, but based on what I could see, that they were the closest. 383-49A, stores and other buildings and structures where goods are sold or service is rendered primarily at retail. So that's our retail section.
Service rendered.
Yeah, it's a service
It's-
rendered.
It's a legal, I assume this is a legal, you know, process or thing that they're
Right.
promoting.
It's approved by EPA, FDA, and USDA.
So why
to
would we
clean a-
not, why do we have to go any further is my question.
Again, it's one of those, you know, you hear when, in our conversation, he could be doing jewelry or automotive parts.
Right.
You know, when you, or a boat, you know, so it brings in the question of what kind of day-to-day operations, which, you know, again, I had no idea of until, speaking with Mr. Landino.
Stores or other buildings where goods are sold.
So you could say that it is just a service
It's a
rendered at
service at
retail.
Would you
retail
let a
level.
cleaning service go in?
I would. I mean,
Right.
it's
So
not-
it
At
just
the most
happens to
basic
use
level.
I'm
a unique
non-prejudiced
process.
guy, I mean, if
Yeah.
cleaning service wants to go in, that's good.
Like, where it kind of tripped me up was the, you know, how are people gonna be bringing cars and boats and
Well,
things like
how
that?
big
and-
is,
They bring 'em
what's the
into-
square footage?
The square
of where you're
footage
going?
is 3,000. I mean, if I get to a certain growth, you know, with scale the business, yeah, I'll probably open up a mobile aspect of the business and go to clean a boat bottom, say.
Right now, the people are coming to you
Yeah,
with
people would
their
become
thing.
their thing.
And it would
Right.
be entirely within an enclosed space? It
Yes,
wouldn't be out?
yes,
Okay.
I'm not gonna be outside of the enclosed space now.
Do you have to do some special ventilation or anything like that?
There's a particulate capture system with it. Similar, I guess, it's a dust collection system, which isn't very large. That's about it. There's evacuation for any CO2, let's say if I store the CO2, the dry ice, it sublimates. So the CO2 levels, it's heavier than air, it's gonna sit down at the floor. So about 12 inches off the floor, there's a monitor. The monitor will go off, trigger a fan, and, you know, clear the room out of.
Do we need health department approval or anything, or, I mean, what do we?
I'm honestly not sure. It's something
Well,
new.
Bill?
I think, Brian, yeah, we would have to. ask
Building
him.
inspector,
Well, that's
Committee,
part of
fire.
the thing, though. I mean, that,
site plan.
well, no, I mean, consider the possibility that maybe it ought to be a special use. Then
Okay.
you can,
I'm still stuck on,
Get
why
more-
wouldn't it be under A?
Right.
Can you
Well-
read it?
Yeah, so stores and other buildings and structures where goods are sold or services rendered primarily at retail.
That's it.
It's pretty broad, yeah.
it is very.
If it were a
broad.
dry cleaner,
That's actually handled separately under C.
Yeah.
A
Well, yeah,
because-
dry cleaners are,
And they also have
lot of
Chemicals.
chemicals. Yeah.
bad stuff.
Yeah.
right.
no, all I'm getting at is that, you know, it sounds like something we would have a lot of questions about.
No, I think so. But let's assume,
But if you say it's a permitted use,
Mhm.
that means it's permitted as a right.
Mm.
And we don't necessarily get to all those questions, do we?
No,
Well,
if he were not to change anything about the site and was just doing
Yeah.
internal
So, I mean, a
improvements,
site
it
plan
just goes through the
approval-
building department.
On a special use permit application, on the other hand, you know, there may be, this is all new to me. This is-
Me too, that's why
So
I brought it
I
here.
don't know.
I mean, it would seem that you'd have a site safety plan in place, because if you could have a level of CO2 sitting on the floor, if you somehow fell down and were knocked out, you would not have enough oxygen, right? So, I mean, but you have something that's set up with alarms and the.
Yeah.
Right, it's gonna
Ventilation.
evacuate it at a certain level.
And are you seen as the public being in that area while you're using the
No.
machine?
Drop off.
Drop off, and
Okay.
I'll let you know when it's ready to be picked up. Or go get a coffee and come back.
Yeah.
So what, Oz?
Yeah.
So we're not here for any application, none's been filed yet. We're not giving any,
You're not gonna get one if it's a permitted use.
That's
Right.
what I'm getting
Right.
at.
Yeah.
You
So-
won't see this again.
Right.
right,
If you say, yeah,
Until you need something cleaned.
right, which could be my whole house.
and then,
Lisa
just
listening to
again,
this? No?
devil's advocate, under prohibited uses, 383-51B, prohibits painting, plumbing, electrical, sheet metal, carpentry, woodworking, blacksmith, welding, and machine shops. Could somebody argue that this is a machine shop?
No.
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, in prohibited uses, A, painting, motor vehicle repair, truck, motor vehicle
Yeah.
washing. Again, not perfect definitions by any means, but
Hence why I'm here.
yeah.
Those are all generating, some sort of off-gas
Right.
product, I mean, with respect to the painting.
Mhm.
I mean, the sheet metal shops is more of an industrial type zone. I mean, in this particular,
Yeah. I think services rendered at retail.
yeah,
That
I
kind of
think
hits
that's,
it.
I think that's the closest fit
Well,
we have.
it's specifically and intended to be broad.
Right.
yeah, but if
No, but
his
is it-
process was using perk to clean machine parts,
Right.
you wouldn't necessarily want that on the post road.
No, and I think we could argue because of the perk, that it would be more like C.
More like a dry cleaner.
Right.
I mean, there are all sorts of,
I'm not opposed to learning more about it, obviously, but I mean, if it is what it is, if he comes in with an application, right?
Yeah.
or not, he's going to the
Well,
building
he's not gonna,
department.
If it's a permitted use,
Then he
and he's
doesn't go
not
to that.
changing the
He's gotta go to the building
building,
department.
Right.
Building
There's no
department is gonna
site
get,
plan.
any other approvals that the building department has to get?
Well, they might have
Yeah, every department will have to sign off on it.
police fire.
Police, fire, health, everything will, but
I-
it's
and
not gonna come in front of this board and,
I'm not sure it
Okay,
should be in
right.
front of the board.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You
the
don't
health
see it
and
as a-
safety aspects will
It's
be dealt
taken
with
care
by
of.
other people.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
you don't see it as a zoning issue at all.
Not yet. He hasn't said
Well,
anything that,
No, I mean, it's a new
It's not a question,
technology.
again, it's not a question of not yet. If you were concerned that that might be the case, that you had concerns, then
we
you
have
would
enough
say,
information to make that determination?
come back with come back with an application to amend the zoning regulations to include this use specifically as a
If he-
special
oh,
use.
If he wants that guidepost, that's something different, yeah.
And then he can come in and, formally, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a service to me.
Yeah, me too,
Yeah.
legal service, not.
Right, and I'm trying to think of what other businesses on Route One are solely service. Well, we have some that they service your lawnmower, but they sell you lawnmowers. Jewelry stores can service things, and so, I'm trying to think what's 100% service. I'm sure there are some out
Oh,
there.
I'm sure there
Doctor's
are.
Yeah,
offices.
attorneys,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and you
go.
off-gas a lot more than this.
Oh,
And
please.
I think
Every
that's
day,
more
much
what,
as I can.
That was good.
Thank you very much.
I
I
think,
was waiting for it.
I think that may be more what we're talking about in the regulations. Service
Right.
rendered primarily at retail.
I think that's kind of it.
No, but I'm saying that's what we wouldn't, yes, but we wouldn't give a doctor's office a second, or a real estate, we wouldn't give a second thought on
Right.
that.
Right.
This is a process that's sort of
almost-
like, it's sort of industrial too.
Well, if he's
I don't
wildly
feel-
successful, it could become, so say like a cab company decides they want him to, clean their engines or something like that. At a certain scale, but then it's like not it's more of a,
Well, then he needs more space. And we
well,
go
that's
in-
true
in
too,
LA,
but.
so.
Manufacturing, it's not really manufacturing or process.
No.
This is under,
A.
well, no, it's actually,
K.
these are still permitted uses, I'm
Yeah, 'cause
sorry.
I was looking at that one too,
Yeah,
for K.
That was your other one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the other one. Well, those are
Processing
the
or
only ones,
assembling
A or,
goods, but-
A or K. If you think A or K are
I
applicable.
think A.
Well, K,
Then you
it
need
is a
to-
process.
but it's not assembling of goods, is it? It's manufacture, comma, processing
processing.
or assembling of goods.
So processing goods,
Yeah.
For sale, only on the premises and at retail.
No. that-
Service.
I don't think that applies.
right?
No, it's a service.
Still not sure what we should do.
What's that?
I'm still not sure what we're gonna do.
I took you from an easy one with the
Yeah,
the Greek party to.
we're trying to make it more complicated, I'm not sure it has to be yet.
Plumbing.
No,
I mean, I think where we're getting sort of held up by is we don't understand the technology. It's new technology. It's a new product. Nobody heard of cleaning like this.
Mhm.
So
But-
we know what dry cleaners are. You know,
But this ain't.
we know what laundromats are.
Right, but this isn't that.
It isn't that.
And, you know,
why
the-
isn't it,
the other thing
But
is.
this
just-
might become the new technology
Yeah.
of this type of
And
cleaning.
the health issues are gonna be handled by the health department or
Right.
somebody else other than
right,
us.
and the taking away the, whatever
Is
is,
it-
is cleaned. You know, if it's got hydrocarbons in it, he's gonna have to take that to one place. If it's, you know, dirt, it can probably go to the dump. If it's organic, it's gotta go wherever it's going, but,
And what I, yeah, I mean, if this use were in the, LI2 zone, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
no.
Because I'm sure there's a category of, you know, a permitted use.
Right.
That this falls squarely.
A
I mean,
lot-
thi-
a lot
It
closer
just strikes me
with,
this
yes.
use is more appropriate in the LI2. It doesn't mean it's not, you know, appropriate.
You're, the
But-
difference
Between what you think should be in the LI2 and this one is because of the process that Michael described as to how he gets to be able to
process.
clean?
Well, it sounds like a, you know, more. not-
Because the ultimate retail, right, the ultimate retail certainly would be falling in,
Yeah,
C2.
customer comes in,
Yeah.
right.
drops off of something for repair
Mhm.
and picks it up. That's retail. You don't,
Yeah.
light industrial, there's no retail component.
So
in
the
light
only-
industrial. You
Or,
don't-
unless you wanted to argue that retail is, you're buying something.
No, service is retail. You
Yeah.
get a lamp fixed.
So the difference that
Well,
you're
that's true.
feeling,
Yeah.
The lamp repair place.
That's
Right.
true. And for
Yeah.
that matter, nights,
Right, but again, you
does-
can
Right,
buy
but
there
they
too,
sell, yeah.
yeah.
but there's service.
Right.
The battery place, you go get things
Mm-hmm.
fixed there. You don't have to buy anything, but they can fix your stuff.
right, so I think the only thing that really we're struggling with is the new technology and
Right.
what is that, how do we categorize that?
Yeah, but, so he's cleaning with CO2.
All good stuff.
If he was hiring, you know, college kids to do it with, you know, suds and water, you'd have
Well,
more stuff to deal with.
whatever,
Right.
whatever exactly he does there, he's gonna have to do in accordance with applicable law.
Right.
Right.
And this is not the only law, the zoning is not, you know, so whatever he does.
It will have to get approved from the necessary
I would think that there's an
Well, the
argument that-
necessary departments are, there may be some state agency that has control
Oh,
over
yeah.
some aspect of, it, you know.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's a zoning issue actually at this point.
Yeah.
Right, say furniture repair store.
Mhm.
You bring, you know, say there was one located that would go in the retail zone.
Right.
And I think that's, we just don't have any. But to me,
Yeah,
it's
right.
close.
I think that's a good
I
point.
think it's a service and it's
So-
covered.
It's a service.
What do we do, let the zoning enforcement officer take it from here?
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I think
Does it mean
we're,
Well,
can-
because, I mean, there's not, there's no,
I don't
like I
think it's
said,
a zoning
there's
issue.
no special permit application,
I
it's
don't
not a
think so.
prohibited
He's
use.
gotta get approvals from all the
So
necessary.
the only thing
Right.
left
Right.
is it a permitted use, and if you think, if we
I
think.
think it's a
Service.
permitted service.
I think our consensus is it is service rendered, which would fit under permitted uses 383-49A.
You'll get our cease and desist right after you open.
But when do we bring our stuff to get cleaned? I'm fascinated.
And so I don't know that we need a vote.
No, nope,
No.
nope, there'd be
It
no
would
vote.
never have come before us had,
No, we would just,
had you done this on your own.
exactly, we would write or mark in the minutes that you know, it was the consensus of the board that the proposed dry ice cleaning business fit under section 383-49A permitted uses.
Okay.
As a
feels like.
service.
As a
Rendered
service.
primarily
As a service,
at
right.
Retail, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is,
I
when
think
you
that's
drill it
our-
down.
And when you get wildly successful, would you please go to the LI too?
Yeah, we got some nice space for you.
Yeah, we got a spot.
All right,
Okay.
I think that's,
So that was very helpful.
yeah, thank you.
thank you.
No, there's a lot to learn, it is.
It was, yeah.
All right, so Jack, unless you have anything else to report?
The
Under-
only thing is, I got an update from the attorney representing us for Stapa Winery. The Stapa applicants are sitting down with the intervenor themselves and their representation, hopefully to come to an agreement on a revised plan for them to eventually bring to us. So they're working on that right now.
The interveners were the immediate neighbors?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So they are gonna work on a revised plan, see if they can come to an agreement, and then if they do, they'll be back in front of us.
And just out of curiosity, if they still have too many seats, what do we care?
Right, it's our,
But
I'm
thank
with
you for
yeah.
the update.
I'm with you, yeah.
Oh, okay.
right.
And then other than that, I know, somebody mentioned it last week, but the swim school is back, actually. So
Oh,
it does look
really?
like they're gonna be going in there, yes.
Now the Christmas tree shop.
If we
is
will,
down.
yeah, the building department said they just applied for permits through them, so. Not sure what happened in the last 2 years, but
Same place?
they're back.
I mean,
Same location, yeah.
All right, okay.
Other than that,
Next
I
to
got,
the
I
axe
got
run.
nothing.
Right.
All right, good, Jack,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, anything else under, okay, then, I think we've covered our agenda.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, it's been
Second.
seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.